more on mentalism. The difference between when you were a child and now has a lot to do with how you think, how you mentalize anything and everything. For example, why do you not play with toys now? At one point, toys were very, very important. Toys, games, and the imagination were very important to you and were what you were manifesting over and over. You wanted a new toy. You wanted a new game. You made up new games. You had an imagination in order to do this. Now, why is it that as an adult we don't appreciate toys? I mean, let's say, yes, we have our own adult toys. We have boats, and we have fast cars, and we have vibrators, and we have frisbees. I mean, we have games and toys. Yes, it is assimilated. But why is it that we did not play and imagine like we did when we were children? Well, the reason is because we do not think like we were like children anymore. And that has a lot to do with our situational programming from, in those levels upwards, and also our environment. And the programming, meaning the layers and levels of learning, fenced in structured learning, and also each layer and level added a different aspect, and also the social pressure, peer pressure, media pressure, and also just the pressure on yourself to be part of what you are within has created a completely different human than what the human of you was when you were a child. Now, I want to say that in mentalism, that there is a power that we had in childhood that we are completely capable and have the potential to reharness to, that would actually benefit our lives as alchemists. We each have to recognize that imagination, in fact, I think it was Albert Einstein who has on many occasions, if not directly or insinuatingly, called and quoted and said that it was from his imagination, meaning he did not go and in some of the things that he created. I cannot remember which one it was right now. If I do, I will be sure I'll throw it out there. But he said it was as if it was downloaded, as if it. Well, it was channeled to. He channeled it. And imagination is exactly that. You're channeling an experience. Think about when you're playing a game. You use your imagination to play a game. When you play with toys, you use your imagination to bring those toys to life. You use your mind and mix it with the physical substance that you possess and create now put a word on that. I don't know. Well, for you personally, it would be a feeling, but you create a little tiny universe of happenings. I played with Barbies. Barbies was my thing, I don't care what y'all say, I don't like my daughters playing with Barbies. We don't have Barbies. I have maybe one or two. I have a sister Barbie, meaning like I have a black sister Barbie for my girl. That's what she's got, like I like her having at least that. But we don't have Barbies, and I try really hard to have my girls, because if all is mental, I don't want my girls, imagining through the substance that they're using to imagine that they should be looking like a Barbie, like, no. But, let me get back on track. When you're doing this, you create a little world. I was very into Barbie as a divination tool, just like tarot cards. And I was channeling a completely brand new set of circumstances and things that were completely just within this little world I created, either for myself or when I had a friend over with my friend. And then that created even a more condensed, dense world of Barbie land that we were playing. Why I think that this is important to try and retrace our steps backwards into relearning how to be a child, or act at least childlike. I mean, Jesus fucking said, be like a child. And what he really meant was, remember how incredibly strong you were as a manifester when you were a child. And that meant, now, if we go back down to alchemy, what did I say was the most important thing? The most important thing was to change your mind about yourself, how you feel about yourself. When you were a child, how did you feel? I mean, unless you were in just very dire straits of not very happy circumstances, that is very unfortunate. And honestly, I'd love to help you, and I would love you to recognize that you are loved and should go to a shaman to help release some of those demons. But if you had a childhood that resembled anything of being able to have a freedom of experience, you must remember the bliss of childhood. It was so divinely blissful. It had its hardness, but it is not anything in comparison to how harsh it is seemingly to be an adult. Be like a child. Be like a child means remember that imagination is in you, is what your thoughts are, is the fundamental underlying foundation of mentalism, which is one of the principles, and if not, exemplifies alchemy. You must be able to allow your mind to wander, to imagine. Now, sometimes, just like Kundalini awakening, ascension, or any type of raising or hyperactive, activation of awareness, this can happen through either a conscious initiation of it. You say, I want to become more imaginative because I recognize that is where I will find my bliss, and I will go back inward. And it's all about understanding what serves a purpose in here, not the outward things. Or it will happen through kind of, I'm going to overgeneralize this by using this word, tragedy. Now, for me, tragedy was my way, and some people call it the way of the cross. The way of the cross is to fully be so involved in such painful experience upon experience, or just one experience, but experience, be so involved that it provokes the necessity of the Kundalini awakening, of the ascension process, or of the imagination to revert to a childlike state of awareness. And for me, both ascension and the ascension began to happen because after so many difficult experiences, this is where the line between when people say, oh, she's gone crazy, or he's gone crazy. I mean, they gone cray-cray, like that's real to the outside world. But really, a lot of times when people go cray-cray, it means that they are tapping back in to the primal roots of their nature. And so it looks cray-cray because they are going back into time to where things made more sense. I have definitely got to say that I provoked my ascension through a series of very unbearable circumstances, which created over time a need to believe in something other than the drear that I really felt that I really believed was my life. Now, because I believed so hardcore, and it felt very real to me that I was experiencing such high levels of pain emotionally and mentally, which is really the highest levels of pain. Physical pain can be overcome through the emotional and mental bodies, you know? So I felt that I was in so much pain that I began to go back into my natural state of being a child. I just couldn't do anything else. I started to, and it wasn't so visible to the outside world. It was, and I would talk about it, but mostly it has become more visible now that I realize that I'm consciously going to continue this process because I believe in it. But I just couldn't do anything else. I felt like, when somebody sucks their thumb because they're scared, like they go back into like kind of a child comfort zone. My comfort zone was in my imagination. I was alone very much of my life socially, and therefore my head and my imagination was my only friend. And so I began to make wands and say I believed in magic and make capes and dress up, and I would talk to myself. I started talking more to myself and just climbing trees. That's what I did as a child. I was a tree climber. That was my mode of operation. And I just kind of said to myself, I remember going over to a family thing, and they asked me why I was making these really cool wands that I decided to be making. And I said, well, because for magic. And they looked at me like sideways glance, like, like furrow brow, sideways glance, but subtly, and I could realize that they were like, are you kidding me? And at the time, I still really felt like them. And I thought, yeah, I know. But somewhere inside of me, I was really it was starting to click that this whole imagination magic thing felt more real. And now that I can actually say that I've gone through it all, it's funny that they looked at me sideways, because that is the perfect essence of programming. Their programming. I was there too. I cannot judge them, and I love you guys. If you ever watch this, I love you. And it's not you. It's the program of deconstructing you from your power, and the power is imagination. And as Albert Einstein would concur with me, imagination is where everything comes from. And what is imagination? I mean, I can break that word down. I don't know. Image, nation, I don't know. Whatever. It's the mind. It is what you construct. It's the images you construct in the nation of your mind. And it's so powerful. And the less self-conscious you can be about becoming more childlike in your thinking, the more confident you can be in your childlike processes, which would be to embrace the unknown as exciting and what you live for, the unknown and the creations therein. The more that you will understand the nature of your mind as an adult with all the information you now have. Thank you so much for watching. If you're watching out there, hello! Ra Imhotep El, where the fuck are you? Much love, guys.